end in November, and it would be the Browns who are propping us up and LeBron and the Cavs who are getting us worried. It's bizarro world. Who would have thought that this was the case, that the Browns would be the talk after a Thursday night in Cincinnati? Because and not just that they were, that I predicted them to lose, but and we talked a little bit about it last week, that I was really concerned that this was going to be like last year in Cincinnati when they went in a hyped game, in a big game, that there's okay, this is a crossroads, and the Browns lost and didn't come close to winning again. That was a massive, massive defeat that just the bottom fell out after that. Yeah. And I was really thinking, gosh, this could be the same thing, because we're coming out of that easy part of the schedule, going into the tough part of the schedule. And, if they just get waylaid on national television, and knowing that they have that tough part of the schedule still to come, this could be a real body blow to this team and could really kind of take their steam away. And that clearly did not happen. So again, now you're looking at 10 days from now, they have another winnable game. Not that they should win or will win, but a winnable game at home against a team that is similar to the Browns, are bouncing back after a miserable year, but they're at home, and then some tough ones ahead. But you also get Josh Gordon back. Hopefully by then, yes, Jordan Cameron will be back. You'll start to get some of these pieces in place for, dare we say it, Jerry, a playoff run.
Dare we say it? There's a difference, though. I said this earlier in the week. Last year, you were 3-5 or 4-5, something like. You were on the other side of in the hunt. This one, you were coming in where even if you lost this game, you were still a game above 500. You were still in decent position, So I think it was even different coming in this year. But you're absolutely right. And the defense doing its thing, as blind as they were to start. Yeah. I was wondering. I said the last 3 weeks they've been better, and last week was probably their best week as a pass defense. Joe Hayden was at his peak. Is it because they played lesser teams? Last night, complete effort. They are now +9 on the season in turnovers, 12 in the last 4 games. That was something when Pettin came over from Buffalo that he was known for, getting a lot of sacks and getting a lot of turnovers there. And we've seen this defense, that's that dog pounds, to talk about a throwback, getting those turnovers and changing a game last night again. And now still +9 on the season. Great turnover ratio there. And you said bizarro world, the running game. Who'd have thought you had some lesser opponents lined up here that were all 30th, 31st, 29th against the run? So was Cincinnati, but who'd have thought you go to the jungle, or what used to be the jungle, and there's where you get your running game cooking again, because all 3 backs had a touchdown, nearly 170 yards on the ground. The Browns, all of them. T. West went out there and got nearly 100. Crow dropped in 40. Tate dropped in 30. They only averaged 3.3, but that's still double what they've been doing the last 3 weeks. That, as much as the defense, the key to taking care of business.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, Joe Thomas said after the game, and this makes as much sense as anything else, is explaining the difference between the last 3 weeks and what we saw last night. Joe Thomas said, yeah, well, those magic pills we've been taking all week actually kicked in. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that makes as much sense as anything. How you go from averaging less than 2 yards per carry for 3 straight weeks against miserable teams, and then go and do that against Cincinnati. Now, granted, Cincinnati's defense is not the best in the world either, but that's just out of the question. How did that even happen? I can't quite wrap my head around that. And I think another key detail that might explain at least part of it was, and you mentioned it earlier, that early turnover. The Browns were managed to punch it in and score a touchdown right away. I really think that was a huge difference, because if you look at these last 3 games, the Browns had chances to score touchdowns early in each of those games. They'd have long drives that they get inside the 10 and then stall and settle for a field goal, in some cases multiple times, particularly the last 2 weeks with Tampa and Oakland. And they had to settle for field goals, and each time you're like, oh, they had a chance to really kind of take throttle hold of this game, and they didn't do it. And last night they did the opposite of that. They punched it in and immediately just threw a haymaker right at the Bengals, and it's like, whoa, this is for real. And I think that's a huge difference when you're able to punch in and score a touchdown rather than settling for field goals early in a game. You see the difference. So that Tampa and the Oakland game both were basically nail-biters into the fourth quarter, whereas last night they took control early, took advantage of the opportunity, and controlled the entire game. So I think there's a lot to be said, particularly when you look at some of the ways the Browns started games going back to opening day, how important it is how you start in that first quarter.
You know what? I'm telling you, man, I could do this all day because I'm feeling good today. I know we got a limited amount of time. Let me just ask you. I mentioned it earlier, and I'm sure I'll mention it again throughout the show. The whole thing with Brian Hoyer, everybody squawking. What else does my man got to do to quiet things down? Because I told you earlier this week, there was literally talk that if the Browns laid an egg last night or didn't win that game last night, then it was time to put the kid in. The season's over. Let's move. I'm like, guys, we're 2 games above 500, but that's neither here nor there. Still noise, still squawking. By the way, for those of you that say my man has no arm strength, he had a spiral that was slicing through that wind last night. So say what you want. The passes were pretty, brother. He threw what he needed to throw, and to me, he did very well last night. But, of course, somebody will squawk that anybody could have done that. We've had anybody trying to do that for the last 15 years. Let me reassure you.
I was thinking that too with Andy Dalton and his 2.0 quarterback rating with Jeff Garcia doing the double goose egg back in 2004. It's like, we've seen worse.
Yeah, we can both reassure you. No, anybody cannot do what this kid's out there doing so far at quarterback. Don't fool yourself into listening to people say that. But, I mean, isn't it? It's kind of a shame, the situation with the looking over the shoulder. You would have thought, coming off of a statement win like this, that question is out of the way. Brian Hoyer, that's his existence, unfortunately. What else does he have to do, I wonder, before the people will finally put that to rest and enjoy this? Because you haven't had this. Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
You know, I would like to think that it really is outside of Cleveland, that he hasn't earned that it's more the ESPN, it's more the national media that is still, I would like to, I don't know if that's true, but when you have fans that travel to a road game that are chanting Brian Hoyer's name the end of the game, to me, that's you've won the base. You've won the base over, and this is a media thing that is keeping this thing alive. Brian Hoyer is the starting quarterback. I don't know what he would have to go out and have about 3 straight performances like Andy Dalton did last night in order to justify benching him in favor of Johnny Manziel. And I can only hope that the Browns are the front office and Farmer are seeing this too, and that any posturing they're doing about, Manziel, we still see him as the quarterback of the future. I'm really hoping that's sort of little strategery on their part to maybe play this out, and if assuming Hoyer stays healthy and can finish the year and they decide, we're going to stick with him, let's package Manziel, get a first-round draft pick out of this, because I think that would be silly to, assuming that the status quo remains, that Brian Hoyer continues on this path that he's on and stays healthy through the end of the year, it would be preposterous to go into next year's training camp as an open quarterback competition. That is preposterous. That is just outrageously stupid for everyone. It just makes everyone look silly. So that's my hope, is that they're like, they're keeping that flame alive, that there's still some value. The Browns still may want to keep Manziel, and then can ship him off somewhere where he will get a chance to play and make everybody happy, because I'm sure he's not thrilled that he's not playing, and he can see the writing on the wall that this is not a good situation for him. Even if he does win the job over, you've now supplanted the hometown kid, and it would seem a little like the media made you do it, or the media pushed you there. I'm really hopeful that that's how this does play out, because right now I just don't see a place for Johnny Manziel. I'd like to think that at some point they'll have a big lead. There'll be a game where he can get in and at least show a little bit of what he can do. Maybe almost as a teaser for other teams that may be interested in trading for him. But I don't see a future for him here, assuming Hoyer can keep this up. And even if he can't, really, I've never been a fan of Manziel. I think there's a lot of sizzle there and very little stake. So I would really love to see if we can just keep him on the bench, keep him healthy, keep him as sort of maybe it's sort of a grab bag type of mentality as you leave the party. Like, we don't really know what's in there, but if you want to grab it, go for it. Somebody would be willing to give up a first-round draft pick that really does need a quarterback and is in love with him, then let's get something out of this.
It's funny. You talk about the checklists and the different ways of knowing that it's a different day. Here's the best one is I remember you and I and all of us talking back in the wintertime and saying, imagine only in Cleveland, Brian Hoyer runs the Browns into the playoffs. They have a hell of a season that nobody sees coming, and then the Browns have to decide between the quarterback that they just drafted in the first round and the free agent who how do you look at your fan base and say, well, we're going to not bring back the guy who just took us to the playoffs after all that time.
Right.
And we both said the famous line that we love to say in Cleveland, well, if we have that problem, that's a good problem to have.
Yeah, we may have that problem.
Right.
Yeah. Amazing.
That's how
Who would
you
have
know.
thought?
Yeah, that's how you know that things are coming along, because like you just said, now you actually may have that problem.
Yeah.
Which
got a
is
long way to go. I mean,
amazing.
we still got a couple of months here to see how this thing plays out. But yeah, I mean, I never would have thought that by now Manziel wouldn't have gotten into the game, let alone not started. You know, it's just amazing to me that this has gone as well as it has been, both for Hoyer and for the team as a whole, that Manziel hasn't even got an opportunity. There's never been a point to me in this entire season when it's like, yeah, Manziel should go in. Like, never. There's never been a point. I mean, even maybe in the blowouts to say, oh, well, he should go in and hand the ball off and take a knee or whatever. But other than that, like, no, there's never been let's put Manziel and see what happens.
And look what the Browns did. They figured that out quick because they monkeyed around with the pressure to see him, and they had the package, and they tried a little. And they said, you know what, this is doing us more harm than good, sitting here monkeying around. And you notice after a week or two of that, that was it. They put that on the shelf. And like I said the other day, the kids never even warmed up on the sideline since then. The Browns figured out.
As much as, and for all the, again, the camera is always on him, CBS or whoever it may be, ESPN televising the game, always points the camera at him. In every highlight package, you will see a shot of Johnny Manziel standing on the sideline. I mean, there's incredible pressure to put him in, and Brian Hoyer just will not allow it to happen.
Nope. My man, JK, I got that feeling like James Brown in the background. I don't know about you, but, man, business is fixing to pick up over the next 6 weeks or so. Man, feels good to be a Browns fan. Been a long time since it felt good.
It has been a long time. You mentioned in '94. I was in high school the last time the Browns had a record this good at this point of the season. So, yeah, this has been a long time coming, and this feels awfully darn good.
Oh, man. JK, sports writer extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight. Maybe they'll give you some fodder for Sundays in the New Pound here, hopefully. We can have
the sequel, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Sundays in the Energy. What is it, the Lightning Box or something like that?
I don't know what we'll go. Yeah, we got to come up with a new name, yeah.
Sports writer extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight, my man. Of course, they can check you out. You got a new Facebook page, right? Jonathan Knight on Facebook. And
yes, Facebook.com/ let's get this right now. It is J Knight Writer.
Like your
Knight
Twitter.
I'll get back to you on that, but I haven't even. We'll put it on your Facebook page, but I'll get it up there. But it's out there, yeah.
My man, JK, enjoy it. Couple of little mini bye week here. Browns in Houston. We'll talk about it. Looking at the second half of the season next week. I can't wait.
Yes, looking forward to it a lot. It's going to be a fun 10 day. We get 10 days to enjoy this too. So good times ahead.
5 days to enjoy it. JK, have a good one, man. We'll catch up.
You bet, buddy.
All right, that is the sports writer extraordinaire, Jonathan Knight. My man. All right, don't go anywhere. Let's get you the news. I'm telling you, you hear James Brown in the background. I got that feeling. How do you feel? Let's talk about some more. After the news, Ryan Ruiz from Dog Pound Nation joins us here. Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com and so much more. We're talking Cavs, Buckeyes coming up. A lot to do and a whole lot of sports fix left to do it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the news. Baby, I got that feeling, baby. They have it. All right. Baby. I'm on now. Come on now.
The Sports Fix, your choice for intelligent talk.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Intelligent talk.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
These guys must be on the wrong station.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!
The Sports Fix.
I'm Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to The Sports Fix.
Have you gotten your copy of Cleveland's Finest yet? Highlighting the best moments, players, and media members in Cleveland sports history?
He won it! Milo hit a three-pointer on the side.
In-depth personal interviews with some of the top names in Cleveland sports fill the pages of this incredible book. Cleveland's Finest by Vince McKee is this year's must-have book for every Cleveland sports fan. Available now at Amazon.com.
Away back, go!
Get your copy today. Sports Fix list.